Right now, everybody is trying to sell you something so they win, right? I want to sell you this widget. I want to sell you this car. I want to sell you this so I can get my commission. I can get mine. I started to notice that the buyer was developing these blocks. I call them buyer defense strategies. When somebody calls or they jump up on you at a store, oh, I'm just looking. Why don't we stop thinking about what I can sell and start thinking about what could we give them to help them get their goals?
Welcome to Resilience Redefined. I'm your host, Michael Ostrolenk. This show is about building better humans, institutions, and systems. On the show, I'll be interviewing many different experts from across many different fields, including human optimization, health and fitness, team building, mind-body medicine. In the institutional space, we're looking at different institutions and how we can create new ones, new models and maps, including in medicine, in education, in intelligence community, in law enforcement, in the military, especially in the special operations community. Thanks for being here and enjoy the show. Welcome to Resilience Redefined. I'm your host, Michael Ostrolenk, and I have two guests today, Nicky Billou and Marc Von Musser. They are the author of this new book we're going to be talking about today, which is Get Booked and Get Paid, How to Generate Six Figures a Year Through Podcast Guesting. A question I was asked this morning is like, what does that have to do with resilience? And I'll say this, if entrepreneurs do not adapt to the ever-changing market, they'll no longer be entrepreneurs. And it's really important that they understand market forces and what's new possibilities for them to utilize. Tell us a little bit about who Marc Von Musser is, and then I'll ask Nicky to share a little bit about himself as well.
Sure. So Marc Von Musser, I am a happy American. I have former military in the U.S. Navy. I've raised two beautiful girls that are now fully grown. Montana is a podiatrist, doctor, and my other daughter is a writer for a financial firm. Two absolutely stunning human beings. Previously, I was also director of coaching and sales training for Tony Robbins. Helped him add nine figures to his bottom line, but part of it. And then most recently helped take a company from 2 million a year to over 20 million a year and created about 5,000 online businesses. And the other part too, which is what you're talking about with resilience, another area to think about with resilience is whatever it is, if you are not moving forward and you don't know how to get over the new challenges, you're done. And so I've been on the other side watching hundreds, if not thousands of businesses that did not have resilience, did not know how to find a new way to overcome the new challenges, and they're wiped out. I've watched people going from 8 figures, $10 million a year, gone because they did not know how to adapt. And now with the new challenge, how to overcome it. So this book is an absolute game changer. And it also is so that people today that have the right heart, that really want to make a difference, it's a way to be resilient and be effective in a changing economy. And if you're really about purpose in that, it's going to be a huge game changer for people too, because it's about how many people you can serve. Resilience today is people will learn this over the next few years, but the people that add the most value, serve at the highest level, they're the ones that are going to win. That is one of the key pillars in resilience today.
Awesome. Thank you, Marc. Who's Nicky Billou?
Well, Michael, man, thanks so much for having me and both of us on the show. Super appreciate it. Let me tell you my story. I'm originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran. And my late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall. This was not going to be a place to raise a Christian family. So he and my mom, they sat down, they talked, they made a plan to get my brothers and I out of Iran eventually. And it took them almost 4 years, but they got us out of Iran and settled us in Toronto, Canada, where I now live. Now, at the time I was a kid, I didn't want to leave my home. I didn't want to leave my friends. But in retrospect, it was the single greatest thing mom and dad could have done for us. They took me from a legacy of tyranny to a legacy of freedom. I believe inside every human breast beats the living heart of freedom. Every man, every woman on this planet yearns to breathe free, to march to the tune of their own drummer. And if you think about it as entrepreneurs, without freedom, we can't be entrepreneurs. Without freedom, you can't have free expression. Without free expression, you can't have free enterprise. Without free enterprise, you're at the mercy of some crony capitalist elites at the top. You can't follow your own dreams. So I say this to you, to your listener, you must be a champion for freedom. You must be someone who's going to stand up for those forces that are for freedom and against those forces that are for tyranny. And for those people who are sitting here going, no, I'm a business person, I want to get involved, I don't like politics. You may not like politics, but politics loves you and it's coming for you, whether you like it or not. So you have got to be somebody who takes that bold stand for freedom. Now, in terms of this book, I come from a situation that was bleak. And Marc has been, he's now my a business partner of mine, but he's been my business coach for many years prior to that. And in early 2022, a major part of my business, due to the scamdemic and the lockdowns, went kaput. About $500,000 in revenue just disappeared. And I came to Marc all in a panic. I said, Marc, I'm screwed. What are we going to do? We need to turn this around. We got to figure this out. Come on, man. You're the man. You got ideas. Tell me, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And, I'm usually a very quiet, introverted fella, right? Not. So Marc said, hold your horses, son. I got an idea. I said, okay, what's your idea? He said, why don't we have you go be a guest on other people's podcasts? And I said, okay, but people go on those shows, just to build their brand. He says, no, you're going to go on those shows to get leads, to get sales, and to get clients. I go, okay, I'd sign me up for that. I'm all over that. How do we do that? And then Marc said the most powerful thing I've ever heard him say. You ready for this, Michael? He said to me, Nicky, I have no freaking idea, but we'll figure it out together. I was just, oh my God, buddy. So here's what happened. I went on my first show. I didn't get a lead. I didn't get a sale. I didn't get a client. But what I did do is I did a debrief call with Marc. We sat down and we went deep into the appearance, what worked about it, what didn't. I went on my second. Again, no lead, no sale, no client. Another debrief call. Third, fourth, fifth, no lead, no sale, no client, but debrief call, debrief call, debrief call. 10th, 20th, 30th, no sales, no lead, no clients, but debrief calls, debrief calls, debrief calls. Learn more. Got further dialed in. 40, 50, 60, 70. No sales, no leads, no clients, but more debrief calls. More knowledge, more understanding. 80, 90, still no sales, still no leads, still no clients, but debrief calls. Learning. And we could feel that it was on the verge of breaking through the dam. 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. No sales, no leads, no clients. But man, we just knew, oh my God, we're just this close. We're a hair away. Marc always says the difference between a win and a loss is sometimes just a hair. You're a hair away. 96, no leads. 97, no sales. 98, no clients. 99, nope. 100, nope. But on 100, it clicked. We figured it out on the debrief call. And on 101, I got my first lead. I got my first sale. I got my first client. And I'm like, oh God, Marc, I think we might have figured it out. Let's get me on some more shows. And I've been on 650 shows and part-time, 5 to 7 hours a week. This country boy from Tehran, Iran has gotten $415,000 in sales. Marc, I just made another sale through podcasting. Thank you very much today. And I tell you what, when this happened, Marc said to me, Nicky, you have a responsibility to teach this to others. You can't keep this to yourself. This is a blue ocean. This is a blue ocean. Nobody's in it. It's not a red ocean where everyone's competing to do Facebook ads and YouTube ads and TikTok ads and spending more money for less result. This is a blue ocean. You're spending hardly any money, $50 a month, and you're making tens of thousands of dollars a month. Come on. So we put together a workshop. We taught this to some people. You did the workshop, Michael. Lots of people have made money from this, and we got great stories from that. We're going to share some of them with you. But I tell you what, then Marc said, we need to write a book. And I love writing books. I said, I'm in, man. Let's go. Let's get it together. You got a copy. I got a copy right here. And this book, man, this book is now out there in dozens of hands, and soon in thousands of hands, and tens of thousands of hands. And it is showing people this blue ocean of getting leads, sales, and clients for under $50 a month in marketing spend. It's a beautiful thing. It truly is.
Woo.
Michael, there's a couple of aspects I want to stack on what Nicky said too. I
Sure.
also have a background in paid traffic. Paid traffic stopped working. And Nicky was before this was spending about $10,000 a month on paid traffic and not getting any money back. It wasn't working, right? And the gurus that were telling him is, oh, you need to spend even more. Well, that's a fool's game. You know, when we talk about resilience, spending more on a failed system is only losing faster, right? It's kind of like, oh, I'm dieting, but every week you gain 10 pounds and you're not dieting. Something's wrong in your diet. So that was where we started with Nicky. Nicky's like, this isn't working. And the gurus were telling him, oh yeah, just spend more. It's your mindset, Nicky. I said, that's not it. The market is changing. He talked about the red ocean. There were so many thousands of people saying the same thing. It diluted the market and it wasn't working for anybody. Stack on top of that, Facebook changed the algorithms and it changed. But there's another aspect. I went back and calculated for Nicky, if he had good working funnel, he would have had to spend $250,000 on ads to make the $400,000 that he made. If he was using the old model that everybody else is talking about, the guru's still pitching, he would have had to spend $250,000 to get that many breakthrough calls, to get that many enrollments. And so the second piece I wanted to share with you, give Nicky a huge shout out. I've spent 40, 50 years, I'd have to count, but it's a lot in sales and sales training. Most people do not have resilience. The average person I have witnessed will mentally quit after 3 to 10 rejections on the phone or attempting to get funding for a business. That's a lack of resilience and grit. So in terms of this, Nicky, one of Nicky's greatest strengths is Nicky was like, he's Rocky Balboa. He would get hit, we'd get super close. The guy couldn't find a credit card. We get super close. The guy said, oh, I just joined another thing and I can't do anything. So we were getting close, but Nicky never wavered. 3 to 10 is what most people do before they mentally quit. Nicky was at 100. And you know what I can tell you? If it hadn't worked, we would be doing 200 calls to find out how it worked, because he refused to quit. That is a key trait that you must have if you're going to win today. So I want to give him a shout out. The third piece I want to share with you, which I'm really proud of, Nicky and I did the heavy lifting. It took him 100 calls. We have people now that do this program, come in, and they're getting an enrollment in their first week. Yep. Now think about that, where you've struggled, you get something else that actually works, you show up, and now all of a sudden you got your first client. Nicky, who was the one that got a couple of people, like I can't remember if it was Mateo or Michael, the other Michael. So other people have done it and they got clients right away. It's not always the norm, but is an example. What am I talking about when I say people are getting new clients in their first week when they do it right?
Yeah, 100%. So let's tell the other Michael story. Michael Matthew. So Michael, you know Michael Matthew, he's a cool guy.
Right.
But I'm sure you would agree he's not the world's most extroverted human being. He's a tax accountant, right? He's a tax accountant. This is a dude who, let's face it, man, he's funny, he's cool, but not big energy, not what you would call like a public speaker par excellence. But it didn't matter. He came, he took our workshop, right? And here's what happened, right? He took our workshop and then he did some of our ongoing programs and he never said a thing. So like, I'm like in my head going, this guy, man, I don't know what's going on with him. Has he gotten anything out of this? Like I was getting a little worried, right? So I said, Michael, can we have a call? So I had a call with him. I said, hey, Michael, so listen, I just wanted to check in. You know, you did our workshop, you're doing our program. You gotten any results? He goes, oh, yeah. He said, you know, this, just get booked and get paid system. It's really great. I did what you said. I did exactly what you said. I went on the show. I told the stories the way you told me to tell them. I got to the points that you told me to get to. And at the end of the podcast, the host, this woman said to me, she said, wow, what you have is really valuable for people. My clients all need this. Do you mind if I give you some referrals? Now, Michael, what would you say if someone said, hey, Michael, do you mind if I give you some referrals? And he's like, I'm sure, give me some referrals. So she gave him 14 referrals. 5 people signed up. So he made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from one appearance, his very first one. And this is a guy who, unlike me, is not a big energy guy. This is a guy who's quiet and who speaks like this. So if someone's listening to this and going, I can't go on shows. I'm not like Nicky, man. I don't have this crazy Persian energy. No, man, I'm quiet. I'm reserved. It works for you when you're quiet and reserved. You can be quiet and reserved as long as you are able to follow the system that I teach you. you will do great. You will make money.
It's so fun to watch good people win. And
Yeah.
Michael is this really good man. And they're in a world of, as I call them, charlatans and fake marketers and people that are just in it for themselves. When you find good people, you want to do everything you can to help them. Because again, it's amazing, but they did a study, Michael, on rats, just as an example. And these rats were very industrious. They could figure out any maze they put to do it, but they finally found a way that they could break the rat spirit. They took away the prize. As soon as they took away the cheese, very, very quickly, the rats found out there was no prize, so they wouldn't even start.
Mm.
Now, that's exactly what happens when people start going and they can't find a way to win. When they're trying their best and they're doing their best, but nothing seems to work, eventually they quit. They might not quit overtly. They might not say it out loud, but they're out of the game. They're looking for an escape hatch. And I want the great people to win. I'm tired of watching people that are self-centered and don't care, and the Bernie Madoffs of the world and the Jordan Belforts and people like that just want to screw their way to their own success. As humanity and as that, we need to resolve and we need to step up as humans, take care and fight for our fellow man, not doing the other thing. Okay. So it's just something as well that I would throw in there, because resilience and grit are absolutely critical, but we also need some help sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's some times
100%.
where a reminder in your ear that, hey man, you got this, we can do this, those little nudges, and then having a system that actually works. Now it's game on. And then you have somebody there that can guide you through, like I did. I was blessed that I had somebody like Nicky that would take the hits. Most people won't. So now we have something that works, that is working really, really well. And there's over 5 million podcasts in North America as well. There's no shortage of places that you can go spread your news. Now, there's one other key aspect that most people don't think about. Get Booked and Get Paid also is about impact. Right now, Nicky, how many that book has allowed you now to be on 600 plus podcasts? How many millions of people now have access to your message because you've done these podcasts? Right now, while we're doing this, how many people have access to you on Spotify, Apple, and all these different places?
Brother, conservatively speaking, it's over 2.5 million.
Think about that. These are the highest demographic of income. These are generally the highest educated demographic you can find on media. And these are people that are buyers and looking to improve their life. That's why they do podcasts. So these all have huge metrics for quality people that we want to work with. And so it's a total game changer in the world before of paid traffic, which is I want to get mine. Now it's a way that we can create win-win solutions where we get ideal clients, we get motivated clients, and also people on the other side are getting what they need to solve problems from people that actually care. So it's a really fun process.
Yeah, what I'd love for you to do, Marc, is I'll use your word, light warrior. Like you approach the world with a heart that you really want to change the world. If you could elaborate on that a little bit, and then I'll ask you guys both to walk through like some of the processes involved that you share in this book, but also talk about the class as well. So that might be
Yeah, let's talk about the light warrior. So there's something that I want to talk about, which is again an identity. How we see ourselves dictates what actions we're going to take, what beliefs we're going to have, and we have different identities. And I believe, to simplify it down, I believe we all have two, at least two. You could have more, but we have an identity of a father. We might have an identity of a business owner. We might have an identity of an athlete or a veteran, etc. But I'd simplify it down into a superhero and a supervillain. And the superhero is the one that drives on purpose, courage, resilience, contribution, fulfillment. They're the most powerful version of us. We all have this version of us. We've all done great things. We've all done crappy things, which fall under the pretext of our supervillain. We've done stupid things, right? So when I understood this and I started to notice this, the question is that old Indian proverb where the grandfather was approached by the young warrior and he said, grandfather, I had this horrible dream. In my dream, I saw the two wolves fighting. There was a white wolf and a black wolf, and they're fighting. And he's like, which one wins? And grandfather looks at him and he says, whichever one you feed.
right.
Okay. So the superhero is the identity of the one that, if you want to be resilient, that resides within the superhero. If you think about Captain America, you think about, Iron Man, resilience was demonstrated in there. And the reason we like superheroes and comics and the graphic novels is because they take those traits of humanity that we admire and they showcase them. You see them get knocked down. You see them step back up. You see them get knocked down again. And you're like, I can do this all day long. And it's within that we see ourselves. So in terms of this, the light warrior is somebody here who is here to use their skills, transmute all the darkness and all the crap that they've gone through to lessen the burden of other people. And this can be men, this can be women, but each of us has this within us. And if you think about what you've done, when you help save a marriage, that validates every struggle, every hour of study, every sacrifice you made to save one marriage. Those kids are going to have a family. Those kids are going to look at see how families saved their marriage, and they're going to have a much better chance in their life too. And every time we do that, imagine a world where there's 1 million of us. We're doing it the right way. Some people, it might be helping people get in shape. Some people, it might be saving marriages. Some people getting off addiction. Some people help become hyper wealthy in business. And so collectively, the light warrior is transmuting light and love and becoming hyper successful with it. And that's really kind of the evolution of what this has become, is really helping people identify the greatness within them and then using their greatness, transmuting all the challenges, all the lessons they've learned to help lessen the burden of others.
Beautifully put, Marc. Beautifully put. And honestly, everybody that we bring into our orbit is that kind of human being. It's almost like we've just done such a really good job of elevating our own vibration that people that don't vibe that way just kind of bounce off of us. You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful thing. And you know, I'll tell you the other story, because people might be listening to this and going, okay, like Nicky, like seriously, man, who can do this? Like, can anybody do this? What if I don't speak great English? You know, what if English isn't my first language? Well, I got a story for you. Mathieu Meheuse. Mathieu is Belgian, and he speaks with a beautiful but noticeable Belgian accent. English is not his first language. It's not even his second language. It's not even his third language. It's his fourth language. His first language is Dutch. Second language is French. Third language is German, and English is his fourth language. Mathieu did our course. Mathieu sat there and he learned everything I taught him, and he loved it. And he said to me, okay, Nicky, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get on shows. I'm excited. And the very first show he got on, not the 101st like me, the very first show he got on, he made a 4,000 USD sale. 4,000 USD sale. And he did it with English as his fourth language on an English language podcast. So if you're listening to this and going, I don't have big energy, I don't speak great English, I'm not super articulate, doesn't matter. None of that matters. All that matters is that you follow the recipe. That would be like a cook saying, you know what, I am a French cook. I cannot cook English food because I don't speak the English. That's crazy, man. You can take the recipe and you can follow it and make great English food as a French cook. And that's what's possible for you right now. All you got to do is learn what Marc and myself will teach you in this book. Buy this book. It's a $4.99 investment in you. $4.99 investment if you buy it as a Kindle book, and it's a $17 investment if you buy it as a paperback book. And we're going to have an Audible book available soon as well. So make that investment in yourself. And like Marc says all the time, there are 4 qualities you gotta have. You gotta have if you want to win in business. Number 1, you got to be decisive. You got to be decisive. You got to say, I'm in it to win it. Number 2, you got to be committed. You got to know you're going to suck at things before you're any good at them. And that includes podcast guesting. So you could be good on your very first show, but maybe do it 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times before you get good. 4th, you are the most important asset in your business. Businesses all over invest money, energy, time into their most important assets. You, the entrepreneur, you're the most important asset in your business. If you want to get better, you need to have an investment plan for you. You must. You got to put time, energy, and money into making yourself healthy, into making sure that you get the best sleep, into making sure your sales skills are up, into making sure your networking skills are up, into making sure you're able to do social media and now podcast guesting. And I've had this discussion with entrepreneurs. If you're in the coaching business and you are under $250,000 a year in revenue, okay, the minimum you should be investing in yourself on an annual basis, The bare minimum is 10 grand. Bare minimum. You really probably should be investing somewhere between 10 and 20%, maybe even 25% of your annual income in making you better. Because if you make you better, you'll double your income. Robin Sharma said, the author of the legendary book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, you want to double your income this year? Triple your investment in personal and professional development. And first time he said this to me, tripling my investment in personal and professional development was 65% of my income. Like, think about that, Michael. That's crazy, right? But I did it, and it paid off. I almost tripled my income. So, triple the investment, triple my income. It's an X investment. It's a 10X return. That's the third thing you got to do. And fourth, you got to be one of these people who absolutely is resourceful. The great Tony Robbins once said, it doesn't matter what level of resources you have. It matters how resourceful you are. That means, are you willing to put the time, the energy, the money to make things happen for yourself? And then people go, okay, Nicky, I'm sold. I'll do all this, but I'm not a good salesperson. Do I need to be some amazing salesperson like Marc, who's done all this sales work? Do I have to have that kind of skill? And the answer is no. In fact, in a minute, Marc will stack on this and tell you why being a salesperson is actually a detriment to wanting to get this. But here's the truth. I'm going to tell you the story of a woman who did get booked and get paid. She was a 75-year-old grandmother. Her name was Sharon. Marc, remember Sharon at the beginning of the year? Grandmother, never sold a thing in her life. She's just a sweet old lady. Oh my God, incredible, sweet old lady. Zero sales background, zero pushiness in her. And she did what Marc and I taught her. And I'm telling you what, Sharon made a sale on her very first podcast appearance. She got a lead. She got a sale. This dear old grandma. And you know why she got the sale? She got the sale because she didn't look at it as a sale. She looked at it as an opportunity to serve her fellow human being. She saw a woman in front of her who was hurting, who needed the kind of help she had to offer. And she said to her, dear, you look like you're hurting. Would you like some help in fixing this? And the dear, whoever she was, said, yes, I think I would, Sharon. And they met and they spoke, and her love for this woman translated so powerfully that this woman decided to become a member of Sharon's coaching program. A grandmother, not a professional salesperson. So you've handed me three things. You've handed me, you know what? I don't have your big energy. I swatted that down. You've handed me, I'm not articulate. I swatted that down. And you've handed me, I don't know how to sell. I'm not a salesperson. I've swatted that down. What more excuses do you have? Pick up a copy of this book. This book will change your life. Do it now, do it now, do it now. Marc, stack away, brother.
Yeah, the other aspect about that you talked about is that we don't have the money. I can't afford it. I don't have the time, or I don't have the money. I've got too much going on. And I can argue that most people are too busy in losing at life to win in life. Okay. I want you guys to get that. That's really important. That people that are successful are intentional. They set their goals. This is one of the key differences between people that are successful and not. You could also do another one too. You see a lot of books in Nicky's house. That's a reflection of a guy that wants to grow. Now, I heard a billionaire say this, and people got all butthurt and offended, and it was pretty interesting. He basically said, he goes, I pulled myself up from poverty. He goes, you know what I can tell you? I've been in projects. I've been in poor apartments. I've been in $1 million mansions. You know what I can tell you? The bigger the mansion, the more books there are, the more commitment there is to growth. And that he goes, I can tell you that when I walk into the projects, this guy owns millions of, maybe not millions, but thousands of units. He says that when I walk into poverty areas, I don't see any books anywhere. I mean, I'll see a 70-inch TV, but I don't see any books. So part of what we're talking about is the commitment to step up, the commitment to want more. And you have to make that a priority. That's part of the light warrior. That's part of knowing you're here for more than just there. Now, the other thing he talked about, humanity is evolving. So this stacks on the back end of the light warrior conversation. Right now, everybody is trying to sell you something so they win, right? I want to sell you this widget. I want to sell you this car. I want to sell you this so I can get my commission. I can get mine. And so what happens is this trickles all the way into the marketing. This trickles into the way that they talk about their product, the identity. So what you have is a bunch of me first takers. Now, what I've noticed after doing 500,000 phone calls, 10,000 appointments, is I started to notice that the buyer was developing these blocks. I call them buyer defense strategies. When somebody calls or they jump up on you at a store, oh, I'm just looking. Oh, I need to talk to my wife. Oh, I need to talk to my spouse. I need to talk to my husband. I need to talk to an accountant. I can't make a decision right. And they have all these excuses, which are simply because they do not feel seen and supported. So what I found and what Nicky's referring to is we show people how to stop selling and rather becoming their advocate and enroll them in their dream. So now instead of me doing it to you, I can get side by side with you and help you get clear on the problem and saying, okay, let's see if we can help you solve it. Let's look at this. And so it's a mutual agreement. That's a win-win. And it's exponentially more effective than the old used car tactics that everybody's still teaching. And that's woven within Get Booked and Get Paid. So Nicky's right. Most of the time when I have a heavy salesperson background, I have to unlearn that so that we can get them into service. And the other difference is you'll notice with this approach is it feels good. People at the end, they're going, oh my God, thank you for taking my money and solving my problem. You don't get that when you're pressuring people. And then the last aspect of this, which is critical, whether you're a coach, a therapist, or somebody of service, when you pressure them, if you're doing it the old fashioned way and you pressure them and beat them up to get the sale, you have destroyed the coaching trust and relationship. So when you do this as a mutual agreement, now you're setting the foundation for transformation and a mutual respect throughout the whole process. So there's a lot woven in there, but there's a better way to do it. And you must have a better way to do it because humanity is now more defensive and skeptical than ever.
Right on. Yeah, so besides, obviously, we want to encourage folks to read the book. You guys also offer a class. Can you share a little bit about the class and how people can learn about it?
Absolutely. So the class, there's a link to the class. It's ecircleacademy.com/get booked. And I'll toss that in the chat over here, Michael. So you've got that easily. And basically, it's a 2-day workshop that Marc and I lead over Zoom. You're going to get a lot of Nicky crazy energy, but you're also going to get the Nicky's crazy like a fox strategies and tactics that Marc and I developed together and I executed for everybody. And it's a workshop. So you don't just come in there during this class and sit there and listen to a bunch of stuff and go home and not implement it. We actually get you to implement it right there. You remember, Michael, we had you set up your profile, get out there, go after your first kind of podcast guest appearance. I even do follow-up calls with people once they've gotten in to help make sure that they really, really are doing it the right way to generate leads, sales, and clients. It's a workshop designed to actually, on the court, have you be able to set yourself up to do 2 to 4 shows a week for the next year. That's 100 to 200 appearances. And with 100 appearances, you should be able to generate 55 to 75 breakthrough calls or sales discovery calls. With 200, we're talking 110 to 150 discovery calls. And I'm telling you what, 150 discovery calls next year would be a game changer for almost anybody listening to this.
Yeah.
Game changer.
The workshop is also to fast track. And so rather than people have to try and do 100 calls and risk quitting, we wanted to simplify it down so that you're actually building it while we're there, while we supervise, while we get you to do it. We help you write your hook. We help you do your profile so that people want to have you on. We show you how to find the podcast, what to say, what not to say. And so within 2 days, it's a lot of work, but you show up, you're walking out of here ready to go. And that's really a big, big part of it.
So, Nick, you had mentioned Get Booked, Get Paid as a workshop as part of the eCircle Academy. Now would be probably a good time to explain what eCircle Academy is. So, I'd love you to kind of express all the different offerings you guys offer, and the market you as well. I mean, I know you're part of the eCircle Academy, but you also have your own offering too, and this will be an opportunity for you to share with our listening and viewing audience other things that you're up to as well.
Yeah, let me start on this one, Nicky. It's important because this is a huge shift from how most people do it. When Nicky and I were deciding, hey, let's put together, unlike most people, they're like, oh, I could sell them this. We did not take that approach. We said, what do they need right now? Okay, that's where we came up with Get Booked and Get Paid. Okay, so then we started saying, okay, now after Get Booked and Get Paid, what else do they need help with? What is the natural psychological and business progression? Meaning after you get a handful of clients, now what? And you want to go bigger. Okay, good. So then there's other things like right away, then we can go ahead 90K in 90 days. And we show you how to start focusing and getting in alignment with money so that you're in alignment so that you can receive it. And our target in that one, 90K in 90 days is, I believe it's a 90-day program to help you make at least 90K, right? And it's like, okay, because so many of these programs, it's all fluff. It's like, oh yeah, you're going to feel good. And oh yeah, and you can't really measure it. We wanted something as a target. And every action step, every meeting is designed to take you step by step and get you clients. Now, after that, you might want to scale and you might want to go ahead and really take it up. Well, now your message becomes critically important, because in the world of noise, imagine 100 stereos on different channels, right? All blaring at the same time. That is the marketing surface that people are playing in. So if you don't know how to articulate your message that pierces that noise and gets right to the heart of your ideal client, you're wasting your time and your money. So then that's the eCircle Academy. And that takes time to refine it, get that dialed in and all the different pieces. Where I came in and where I've been helping Nicky as well is with Sales Alchemy. I show people on any platform how to get the maximum number of enrollments in the least amount of calls and presentations, and doing it with ethics and heart, as opposed to manipulation and pressure. So it doesn't matter the platform. If it's on stage, I can show you how to enroll. If it's a podcast, we can show you how to enroll. If it's breakthrough calls on paid traffic, we can show you how to make that work. And last year, the clients that I trained did over $1 billion in coaching sales, to give you context around it, by using a heart-driven approach rather than the pressure selling. I would argue that the systems that I've created and trained are the most copied in online marketing. The problem is they don't understand the heart. They kind of don't get that. So they just take pieces of the outer layer and they miss the whole genius and the whole energy of service. So that's why they've never been able to replicate my numbers that we've had. And so those are just a couple of things, but I think it's important to realize, and Nicky, you can jump on it, but these programs were put together based on one factor. Well, actually two. What do they need and how do we get them the best results? It wasn't like, oh, we could sell them this. I've been in masterminds and other groups. That's their goal. Oh, we could sell them this. We could sell them this. We could sell them this. At no time are these other gurus saying, well, what do they really need? How can we add value right now? Why don't we stop thinking about what I can sell and start thinking about what could we give them to help them get their goals? Zig Ziglar said it best. And then Nicky, you jump on. When you help enough other people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Amen. No, well said. Yeah. So, as Marc said, right, Get Booked and Get Paid was designed as a workshop to really help people get a blue ocean way, low cost way of generating leads, sales, and clients. And here's what we found. There's a lot of folks who are starting to do that, but they didn't have any other means of generating leads and sales, because podcast guesting is not the only way to generate leads and sales. So we said, look, there's actually like 11 different strategies for generating leads and sales. We're a little bit agnostic as to what you use. We're not married to anyone, because it's not the thing that we base our approach to selling for people. So we saw that a lot of people needed help to actually get out there and do the work. So Marc is right. People need to be around other people that are going after a result when it comes to sales. Like it or not, there's a lot of folks out there that sales just makes them feel a little scared. Oh my God, I don't want to be seen as that guy or that gal reeking of commission breath. I don't want to be seen as pushy. So they don't go after the business. Here's the problem with that. Obviously, it hurts them because their business doesn't grow and it stays stagnant. They can't take care of their family at the level they want to. But secondly, it hurts their client, because that client does not get a good heart-driven person solving the problem for them. And that charlatan marketer comes by, scoops up the business because they got great sales skills, but no ethics. And they don't care whether they deliver or not. If they do deliver, it's a happy accident. So everybody loses. So we're like, F this. My genius. The greatest thing about Nicky Billou is I'm an activator. I push myself and other people into action. Like Marc said, I went on 100 calls. I didn't care. I'm going to keep going. You hang around me, any fear you have, any lack of belief you have about yourself, I'm going to pour so much belief into you, but also so much kick-ass that you're going to act. And getting results in sales, in a business, is about acting. There is no other way about it. You cannot pretend that somehow by just putting your name out there, you're going to get people coming and saying, yes, I want to do business with you. I'm going to make sure you're actively, and I mean actively, not passively, going after business. And Michael, you've been in the 90-day program. What's beautiful about that program is people come in and they take action, and action makes people win. And that's the beauty of that program. And then eCircle Academy's immersion program, as Marc said, is designed to help you dial in your message, but also to get deep into you. What makes you you? What makes you special? What is your special zone of genius? And how do we turn you into that go-to authority and thought leader in this space? And that's a beautiful thing, because that's the way that you get to give your greatest, biggest gifts out into the world.
Where can people learn more about the Your Circle Academy and other workshops that you offer?
Well, they should go to ecircleacademy.com. That's the
Okay.
website. But the
Awesome.
best way, honestly, is to be active and not passive. And go to that same website /appointment and jump on my calendar and let's have a conversation. It's not about us or our programs at the end of the day, brother. It's about you and what you're dealing with and what's getting in your way. And I believe in people. I love people. And I want to move people into action. So let's have a conversation to help make all that happen for you. Go to
Yeah.
ecircleacademy.com /appointment. That's the best way.
And I strongly encourage that. As you've already acknowledged, I've taken your workshop, get booked and get paid. I did the 90K in 90 days, and I'm now in the eCircle year-long program. So everything that Nicky and Marc have been talking about, I've had the opportunity to experience. Look at myself in the mirror, learn a lot about myself, overcome my own self-limitations, get much more active in the world, and have much more effect in the world. So this is not blowing smoke up your ass. These guys actually are the real thing and helping you really develop and grow your own business. So let me encourage you guys to check out Nicky and Marc at eCircle Academy. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having us, brother, and thank you so much for your kind words. God bless you.
Hey, y'all, if you enjoyed the episode, reach out on all the different platforms that Resilience Redefined is on, including Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. Let me know your thoughts, and if you have any suggestions for future guests, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know.